Our next presenter conducted educational programs with live animals for diverse audiences. Do we call that a zoo? Yeah, we call that a zoo. And spent a year teaching English in Japan. She currently oversees a family literacy program, coordinates veterans writing workshops, which we have had the pleasure of working together for several years now with our KC Vets writing team, and the annual publication of Proud to Be, Writing by American Warriors, an anthology featuring the collected writings of veterans and their families from across the nation. She also serves on the KETC Channel 9, that's a PBS affiliate, advisory board for veterans issues. So please welcome Lisa Carrico.
My father is a Vietnam veteran, and at the age of 71, he's just now opening up about his experiences. My grandfather was in the US Navy and served during World War II, and when he passed, he took with him a lot of his veteran stories. I've been actively asking my father about his experiences in hopes of preserving his stories. I recently learned that my grandfather, after the war, built and designed radars for General Electric. And coincidentally, these became the same radars that my father repaired and operated in Vietnam. It's kind of a crazy connection, like father, like son. I bet that almost everyone in this room knows someone who has served or is currently serving. Think about the stories you've heard about military life, and think about the stories that you wish you could have heard. Every veteran has a story to tell, and oftentimes veterans carry these stories inside them well beyond their times of service. So imagine a society in which every veteran had the encouragement and tools to tell their story. Since 2011, the Missouri Humanities Council has been partnering with many great organizations across the state of Missouri to provide veterans and their families with an outlet for creative expression through writing. Through the veteran programs, we support new and experienced writers through writing workshops, readings, and an annual publication. It was not until I took this position as the Director of Family and Veteran Programs that I really started to listen and understand firsthand the therapeutic power and importance of veterans telling their stories. One of such story is about Fred, and this is Fred. And if you know Fred, you call him Harley. And as you can imagine, he gets his nickname from riding a Harley Davidson. He's a Vietnam veteran and a good friend of mine. And I once asked him why he started writing. And his response: never tell your therapist at the VA hospital that you're going over the edge. You could be prescribed poetry. So here's Harley, riding motorcycles, writing poetry. So he had no desire to read books, let alone start writing. But after his first writing workshop, he took comfort in putting his words on paper. It's an important part of him alleviating some of that stress related to PTSD. Harley got his start at the VA hospital at Jefferson Barracks in St. Louis. The MHC helped support the writing workshop. It is a private and therapeutic workshop, and it is put on by published poet Janie Iber and occupational therapist Rita Reichart. So we wanted to use this model, and the Missouri Humanities Council teamed up with the St. Louis Public Library. I believe Scott Morris is somewhere in the crowd from there. And we wanted to offer a free and public workshop open to veterans who may be outside of the VA system. Since then, we have expanded workshops to Springfield and Kansas City. The workshops are truly a community collaboration in partnership with libraries and veteran support organizations, and many of them are here today, and including our beautiful MC. She does help with our workshops here in KC. While we don't have a Rita or a therapist at our workshops, we do offer them based on the knowledge that writing is therapeutic. And according to the research by psychologist James Penbaker, expressive writing, the act of writing down one's thoughts about traumatic experiences, helps individuals heal from those experiences. So in expressive writing, participants write just to get the words out. There's no concern for the elements of writing. So our workshops take expressive writing a step further. The workshops are facilitated by professional writers and educators. Some are even veterans. And participants are led through writing exercises with meaningful feedback from facilitators, fellow veterans, and family as they shape, revise, and edit their works in an environment of mutual understanding. We hear this notion a lot from our veterans, our veteran writers. I write because I have to. I write to get things out. I write to be. Writing is therapeutic. Writing gives me power and control over the memories. In creative writing, participants can gain distance from the event by shaping and reshaping the experience. From the feedback that we receive from our participants, we know that the workshops are a positive experience. They're improving veterans' writing skills, they're building camaraderie, they're sharing their stories, and most importantly, they're investing in their own well-being. For those veterans and their families that may want to publish their works, they may submit to the MHC's Proud to Be Writing by American Warriors. It's a creative writing anthology with submissions by and about veterans from across the nation, spanning generations. And every year when we release a book on Veterans Day, we host a public reading and we allow our contributors to come in and read. And this year we asked Matthew Burrell, veteran, journalist, Proud to Be contributor, why these books are important. And he says a lot of times people see the headlines but don't necessarily see the microcosms, the little stories that are happening all over war. There are all types of stories that should be told, and this book helps deliver a lot of those stories, those perspectives. I wholeheartedly agree with Matt on this. Proud to Be allows those stories that we may not otherwise hear get told. And Proud to Be is also an important service to those of us who haven't served. They provide us with invaluable insight into the lives of veterans. It's in part these stories that encouraged me to talk to my own father. So I made a bold statement at the beginning of this, and I said that I bet that almost everyone in this room is connected to a veteran. So how did I do? Raise your hand if you know a veteran who is currently serving or has served. So I made this prediction based on the marketing for today. But however, if we look at the bigger picture, 61% of Americans have an immediate family member who was in the military, but only 1/3 of them are below age 30. So the younger you are, less of the chance that you have served or that you know somebody that's related to you. So there's already a disconnect between veterans and civilians, and as less of the population serves, this disconnect could grow greater unless we take interest in these stories, in our veterans, and in their well-being. So again, imagine a society in which every veteran had the encouragement and tools to tell their story. I stand here today in front of you to ask you to, one, encourage the veterans that you know to tell their stories in any way that they feel comfortable. 2, partner and support with organizations that are helping veterans tell their stories. And 3, as a civilian, take interest in these stories. It's the sum of these 3 efforts that will raise the profile of an undertold American narrative. So today, I had a hard time deciding which stories, which quotes to include in this presentation, because there's so many amazing stories coming from our programs. But I did want to bring one gentleman up by the name of Jay Harden. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he has been one of our first workshop participants and contributor to our book. We actually call him the grandfather of Proud to Be, because he's been published in every volume that we've released. So I'm going to have him come out and tell a little bit of his story and why he writes to be. Thank you.
I write because I feel deeply, and I write because I must. I want to leave something behind bigger than me, a legacy for my family and my friends and for my descendants, because that's what my great-grandfather left me. He was a Civil War veteran, and he left me a legacy of letters, while his son and his son, my father, did not. They only left me a genetic legacy, which was worthy as it is. When I write of my experience, the experience of nightmares don't return. So writing for me is my way of self-help to deal with combat stress. The Proud to Be anthology series has given me a great canvas of comfort and a safe haven for me to be heard, where I can safely share my words with the possibility that what I have to say may be of help to people I don't even know. That's why I have made over 20 contributions so far, all essays, veteran interviews, poetry, fiction, and photography in the series, hoping that many will follow me and may have similar benefits like I have had. So in a sense, I write to be me. The first poem I had published in the anthology is this one. I never was in Vietnam. I just flew over, let loose, and waved. I never heard the screams from 35,000 feet. So I never heard the cheers either. I lived in silence with what I had done until 40 years later, when I found my brothers, them silent too. And we went to war a second time. This time, not for our country. This time for ourselves. And what came out of that was the healing truth. So which was the greater battle? For them, the intense and internal many, I often wonder, but for me, I know. My latter-day warrior ways are unfolding, and the outcome is deliberate, difficult, long, and yet to be. I fight uncertain, as loyal to me now as I was to then them. We brothers, battling as always for a future believed in. Thank you.